In Thailand, as riot police call on red shirt protesters to disperse peacefully from the business district in the Thai capital, Bangkok. Earlier this week, you might recall, the country's central bank decided to leave interest rates on hold as it continues to assess the economic impact of the ongoing demonstrations in Bangkok. Johanna Chua is chief economist Asia Pac at Citi, live from our studios up in Hong Kong. Johanna, good morning. Welcome back. Nice to see you again. What are you telling clients about the situation in Thailand, in Bangkok specifically, and how that should or should not affect their investment decisions?
No, I mean, clearly the political developments in Thailand and heightened political risk provide downside growth outlook for the private sector, demand revival, particularly both on investment and consumption. And that is also clearly factored into the timing of policy normalization in Thailand. We have actually pushed back and reduced the amount of expected rate hikes in Thailand this year. We don't expect the rate hike until perhaps the first rate hike until maybe August. But clearly that is very sensitive to what happens to political developments. And in fact, if things continue to worsen, that could even delay any rate normalization even further.
Johanna, can you say at this stage what the impact is on the tourism industry? That's a mainstay of the Thai economy.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've seen what happened in the previous political episodes in Thailand that's obviously had a very negative impact, not just on tourism, but other affiliated sort of retail services that are also linked to that. And that should have a negative impact. However, if you look at the recent data out of Thailand, exports have actually been surprisingly very strong, and that's been a major engine to the growth outlook. So at the moment, we haven't changed our overall GDP growth forecast this year of about 5.5%. But we clearly have to be watching the latest developments and how things evolve from here.
What about the risk of a downgrade by the ratings agencies, Johanna? Is that conceivable at this stage?
I think, yes. Well, we do have a negative outlook on the foreign currency rating from Moody's and S&P, and we also that Fitch also put the local currency rating on negative outlook. So clearly there are downside risks to the rating. Although at the moment, if you look at Thailand's public finances and external finances, it doesn't really seem clear that we are seeing any deterioration on the back of the political developments. But I think on the longer term risk, the risks are clearly there. You know,
Joanne, I'm a little surprised that you folks over at Citi have not downgraded your forecast for GDP for growth in Thailand this year, given the fact that, I mean, unlike in the past where similar demonstrations, even coups, were more akin to, let's say, spectator sports. In this case, people are really getting scared. They're staying home. They're holding up. I mean, this is clearly, it's got to be affecting economic activity.
No, absolutely. I mean, obviously, this is something that we're still watching very closely. Having said that, as I mentioned, the upturn on the export side globally, and even in Thailand, has actually been better than expected. But obviously, there are risks to the downside. We're obviously watching this at the moment. But at the moment, we haven't changed yet. If things continue to deteriorate, we'll have to review that.
What would have to change, or what would have to happen to make you downgrade? What do you need to see?
Well, no, I mean, obviously, we've just recently seen some of the data coming out of March. For example, the auto sales data was actually very strong. I think going forward, that is likely to weaken. And, our economist at the moment is probably still watching the developments. But I guess, as succeeding data continues to come out, and also to find, I think there could be obviously some downside risk. But as I mentioned, these developments are very, very recent. I mean, all the escalation of the political violence has just happened over the last couple of weeks. So we're still on the wait and see mode.